Holy shit. How do they keep doing this? I don't know that the Niners are a good team. I don't know that the Niners know that they're a good team, but they're 5-2 and they've beaten some really good teams. And it's such a weird year this year in the NFL. If I asked you who's the best team in the NFL, would you know what to say? I don't know what to say. I feel like my opinion changes weekly. Maybe I would go with the Chiefs now since there's no consensus best team, but maybe it's the freaking Niners because they just rolled off 5 wins in 7 games playing with their B team, essentially. And now it seems like their B team may become their A team because a lot of these backups are really freaking good. So I want to give Christian McCaffrey his props, Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle, not the fullback. Wow. But I want to start with the defense because the difference in this game, I mean, the offense was fine, scored 20 points. That's more than the Bills scored against the Falcons. It's a really good defense. And the Niners had to play a certain way on offense to not lose. And that was, safety first, run the ball. Defense won the game. And specifically, it was Saleh. His players did a good job, but the game plan was incredible. And the pass rush was all him. That wasn't all him. I don't want to take away from Bryce Huff. I'm going to talk about Bryce Huff in a minute. But what made the pass rush special and effective all night was Robert Saleh. I mean, it took him, 3 weeks to adjust to not having Nick Bosa. It took him 7 days to adjust to not having Fred Warner. I think we all knew that Robert Saleh is really good, but performances like this are what are going to get him hired as a head coach. Because I think you can look at anyone coach the 49ers defense when they have Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and say, how much is it the court? Like Steve Wilkes did well here. Nothing against Steve Wilkes, but no one wants Steve Wilkes to be their head coach anymore. So what differentiates Robert Saleh from Wilkes? It's games like this. And if you watched Michael Penix Jr., he's got a really good arm. He's just inexperienced. And if he's under pressure, he's not that good, like most young quarterbacks. And I thought going into the game, one of the reasons I picked the Falcons to win is because I thought the Niners wouldn't be able to get any pressure on Michael Penix Jr. I was wrong. I underestimated Robert Saleh and his players. So, I mean, he called them on second down. He called them on third down. When he called them, they were usually effective. He had safeties blitzing, nickels blitzing, Tatum Bethune blitzing. It's like, this is what makes him so much better than other defensive coordinators. And what's interesting, too, is he was a Pete Carroll disciple. I mean, he comes from the most vanilla coaching tree of them all. And the way Pete Carroll calls defense, he's still doing it now with the Raiders. You just call zone defense, cover 3, middle of the field closed, single high safety and 2 deep corners, cover 3, rush 4 all freaking day until you just get worked. He did it today, Pete Carroll, and lost. Robert Saleh came from that tree, but doesn't do anything like that anymore. He does it when he can, but when he has to bring pressure, he's really good at it. And I think, to me, it was interesting. After last week, a lot of people said, me included, well, now the offense is going to have to pick up the slack. No, that's not how this team works. This is the offense they have. It's good, but it's always been a complementary offense. With that offensive line, it's a complementary offense. They need the defense to be the catalyst. And it is. Even without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, it's the catalyst because they still have Robert Saleh, who's the MVP of the defense. Plus they have Tatum Bethune, who appears to be one hell of a linebacker. And they have Bryce Huff, who, wow, is one hell of an edge rusher. So, I mean, what else does this defense have? D. Winters is a good player. Mykel Williams and Alfred Collins are good players. Chase Lucas is a good player. Diamador Lenore is a good player. Malik Mustafa is a good player. Was that 6 guys I just named? 7? And Robert Saleh counts as like a player and a half. So, ultimate game ball today goes to Saleh. And if he's a head coach somewhere else next year, this game might be the reason why. because other teams that might be interested in Saleh don't have Fred Warner or Nick Bosa, and they need to see what he could do without those guys. And now you've seen it in New York, and you've seen it here. Shout out to Robert Saleh. David Lombardi says Jake Brendel is an elite center, and the Niners are going nowhere without him. Thank you, David. Sudden Chaos James says Brendel who? Henny. Rep that man. I don't have a topic on Matt Hennessy, Matt Heem, but he did really good. And I wouldn't be surprised if he held on to that job as a starting center. Tally S says quality control working overtime on the squad, but left Grant's hair a hot mess. I'm going to talk about my new look in a minute. Give me a break. Josh B says Matt Henney looked like a huge improvement to Jake Brendel. Brendel should not start another game, especially in the passing game. Agree. David Trinidad says Mac or Penix. Who threw Penix? Who threw more beautiful spirals? Why? I thought that Penix threw some really nice spirals, but so did Mac. That's hard to say. JT Ray says, hey, just joined. Hope you were doing good, Grant. Low-key, Juwan needs to sit out and recover. His injuries are clearly affecting him. He's hurt. Kittle was playing at less than 100%. Some gritty stuff they're doing out here. But let's stick with the defense. The MVP of the defense today, Tatum Bethune. I made a little video earlier this week saying don't sleep on Tatum Bethune. He actually did really well against the Bucks, and the Niners are the best team in the league at drafting and developing linebackers. It's the position they develop the best, and they've been adamant since Tatum Bethune got here that he is a middle linebacker, that he has some special. He's not just a guy who can run and hit, no offense to D Winners, but he also can be the leader of the defense. He can call the plays. He can be the Fred Warner, and they were right. And I think let's look at it this way. We've seen him tackle. He is a good tackler. But to be a middle linebacker, there's so much more than that. And I think last week, he struggled at times. The defense struggled at times because I think it's underrated. We see quarterbacks leave games and get replaced by their backups all the time. And there's a bit of an adjustment there because now you have a new guy in the huddle calling the plays. I think it might be even harder for defenses, harder for middle linebackers. I mean, you go from one guy wearing the green dot to another. And was it even Tatum Bethune wearing the green dot against Tampa, or was it D Winners? They weren't really prepared for that transition. And, so much of defense is communicating before the snap, making sure all 11 people have the same assignment or know what they're doing. And it didn't look like that was happening against the Buccaneers. But you give the Niners a week, give Robert Saleh a week, give Tatum Bethune a week. This is what it looks like. An absolute dominant defensive performance against a team with the best running back in the league, a top 5 pick at tight end, a top 15 pick at wide receiver, and a top 15 pick at quarterback. Made them look like bums. So are we getting overboard? Are we going overboard with Tatum Bethune? He doesn't run a fast 40-yard dash, but guess what? Neither did Dre Greenlaw. I mean, as physically, he's a lot like Dre Greenlaw. And mentally, it seems like he's a lot like Fred Warner. Maybe in retrospect, I mean, I can't second guess Robert Saleh here. They've been grooming Tatum Bethune to be the middle linebacker in particular for so long, and it's worked out. But next year, when Fred Warner comes back, the starters have to be Warner and Bethune. I'm sorry. I know Bethune's a middle linebacker and Warner's a middle linebacker, but one of them has to play weak side linebacker. No disrespect to D Winners, because those two are freaking stud. I mean, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but I feel like every time we've seen Tatum Bethune, he's been a playmaker. Rookie year, preseason, he's always around the ball. And I think the question was, is he going to be a good communicator? Will the defense fall apart? Will there be, multiple people doing the wrong thing on every play? The answer is no. And will he be a flat out liability in coverage? The answer is no. He's not Fred Warner, but he is Tatum Bethune, and that's a good player. So the most important players on the team this year, the players who are keeping this team afloat, and which is a weird thing to say because they're 5-2, Bethune, Bryce Huff, Chase Lucas, Eddie Pineiro, Christian McCaffrey, Mac Jones. Jake Tonjes and Kendrick Bourne for a while, although they got phased out today. But there's been a lot of guys who aren't part of the core, quote unquote, who are absolutely essential members of this team, and members of the core who are not essential members of the team anymore. It's funny how that goes. More props for the defense. Bryce freaking Huff. Doesn't this make Robert Saleh look like an evil genius? Not only can he put together a defense and put together a game plan and scout an opponent and figure out their tendencies, but like he can build his defense too. Better than Howie Roseman. Like he took Bryce Huff as an undrafted free agent on the Jets, slowly developed him into an elite edge rusher, got him paid by Philly $50 million. Vic Fangio had no idea what to do with them. So Philly traded him to the Niners for next to nothing. They're paying more than 50% of his salary this year because they thought he was a total nothing. And now Saleh has him playing as like an elite edge rusher with no Nick Bosa on the field. Like Howie Roseman and Vic Fangio got to be feeling embarrassed right now. You just give a guy away, you better not give him to someone who knows how to use him. And that's exactly what Robert Saleh does. He knows how to use Bryce Huff. When Huff was like the complimentary edge rusher with Bosa on the field, it was hard to know, like, you know, how much is it Saleh using Huff the right way and how much is it just Huff benefiting from all the attention that Nick Bosa commands? Well, I guess it's Huff and Saleh. It's not just Bosa because Huff's still producing without Bosa on the field. And he's not a flat-out liability against the run either. So I don't know what they're going to do with Bryce Huff. They got to find a way to keep him around beyond this year because he's the best edge rusher they've had, not named Nick Bosa, since Aldon Smith. And he's got such a unique skill set. He not only has speed and he has power, but he can bend. You know what I mean? He can get underneath the offensive tackle's hands. How many edge rushers can you name on in Niners history who could do that? I mean, Aldon Smith was great for a couple of years, but he wasn't bending like that. Nick Bosa's great. He doesn't bend like that. It's a really nice skill set, and Bryce Huff has it. Robert Saleh cultivated it. And now it's like you have your replacement for Nick Bosa. His name is Bryce Huff. You have your replacement for Fred Warner. His name is Tatum Bethune. So now you don't necessarily have to trade for a defensive lineman. Another one would help. But Sam Okawanu was kicking ass tonight. They do need to add another player because they're 5-2 and they might be one player away from being the best team in the league. Because again, I couldn't tell you who the best team in the league is. It's a very unique season where you don't necessarily have to have a juggernaut to win the Super Bowl. Doesn't look like it. So they'll make a trade, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for a defensive end. One more guy on defense we got to give props to. Chase Lucas. He had almost the game-winning interception. He broke up a pass on 4th down. Not sure that Upton Stout would have made that play. After the game, we talked about to Chase Lucas at his locker, and he was like, look, Robert Saleh and Daniel Bullock's put together like a tendency tape. This is what this offense does. And he basically said every time Drake London lined up in the slot, he ran an option route. So when they motioned London in the slot on that final play, Chase Lucas understood that they were targeting him. They didn't respect him. They've been going after Darrell Luter Jr. He'd improved a little bit, and they thought, let's test this backup nickel with the game on the line. I guess they didn't watch the preseason. I guess they don't know who Chase Lucas is, because not only is he good, but he's prepared. I think that's what you're seeing. If you're a professional athlete, a real pro, and you do your homework, Robert Saleh is going to make you look like a genius. Why is Fred Warner always in the right place at the right time? Because Robert Saleh. for the same reason that Chase Lucas was at the right place at the right time with the game on the line. Because Robert Saleh and Daniel Bullocks are really freaking good. Shout out to Daniel Bullocks, too. He's been on this staff since 2017. You may not even know who he is. He started off as the assistant defensive backs coach. Now he's like the pass game coordinator on defense. And if Saleh leaves next year, which it looks like he could, Bullocks might replace him. Anyway, it was nice to see Chase Lucas make the play. It was nice to hear him explain how he made the play afterward. Like, look, he felt like he was essentially cheating. Like, I knew what was coming. Robert Saleh told me it's an option route. I knew he was going to break to the outside. I was breaking before he broke, and the ball went through his hands. He needs to be a starter on this team. And afterward, he said that he's studying nickelback, but also cornerback and safety. So he's prepared to play any position in the secondary. They need him at corner. Or they could just say that they could give Upton Stout like a soft benching. Like don't bench him, but say that his ankle hurts indefinitely. And just keep playing Chase. Because Upton Stout's good, but I'm not sure that he's better than Chase. In fact, he's not better than Chase. Chase is a veteran. Chase is more prepared. Maybe he's not the athlete that Upton Stout is, but he's 3 inches taller than Upton Stout. He's really good in coverage. He was in on the game-winning play against the Rams, and he was in on the game-winning play against the Falcons. He's one of their better players. And I love this about the 49ers. There's a lot of roster politics on this team because the coaches draft and pick the players. So when they take a guy like Upton Stout in round 3, they're, inclined to play him because they don't want to be wrong about the players they picked. But every year, there's a guy like Chase Lucas who's just been on the practice squad, who just happened to improve and wasn't anointed, wasn't ever expected to be in this position, but just forces his way into it. And I think he came so close in preseason. It was interesting. I mean, he was great in preseason. Upton Stout didn't do anything. Was out the whole time, and they gave the job to Upton Stout just because they like him, because they drafted him, and he's had good moments, but he didn't earn the job. Chase did, and now he got to play an entire regular season game. He got to be one of the heroes again, and now I think it's not even it's not really up to the Niners anymore. Like, he's the nickelback. That's sports. Sorry, Upton. Sorry, Robert. Sorry, Kyle. It's Chase now until, further notice. So congratulations to Chase. He freaking deserved it. Earned it. JT Ray says, hey, just joined. Got you. Richard Evangelista says, which of the Niners are a dark horse to win it after this win? I would say so. Because they're still a work in progress. They don't even have an identity yet. They still have players coming back from injury. Like George Kittle didn't catch a pass in this game. And he will next week. Cosmo says Huff did awesome, but they still need a pass rusher. Sure. Michael Alaniz says, I feel like I pronounce your last name differently every time. Michael A says, kind of weird timing. Niners would dump Purdy news in the middle of the game when no one's paying attention. No timetable. I'm going to talk about that later. Hold on. Hang tight. Yikes. Says, should Brock start next week if healthy? Should Brock start if healthy? Yeah, he's the starting quarterback. You can't bench him in that contract just yet. But he's not healthy, and that's the thing. Dazza says, doesn't the effect of Kittle on the run game show even more how important it is to invest in the offensive line? Yes, it does. We'll talk about Kittle in a minute. Thomas Dela Cruz says, return of the Mac. Yes, it is. Return of the Mac. Sing it, Grant. That's the new Fernando. Return of the Mac. There it is. Once again, top of the world. I like the little ad-libs in that song. Michael Valencia says, foot-to-throat mentality, schedule softens a bit, and Kyle is going to be able to build this offense to win in the playoffs. Salah, we trust. Andrew Powell says, still think Brock is better at his job than Kyle. Why you got to bring up old shit that I said? Why you got to bring up old shit? We're over here talking about the Niners winning, and you got to, man, no, I guess I don't. Dazza says, if Bethune is that good, what about Nick Martin? Here's what I think. I'm never questioning the Niners on linebackers. End of story. No one coaches linebackers better than the Niners. So when they said we believe in Tatum Bethune, he's a good middle linebacker, they were right. And I had every reason to believe him. When they're telling you that Nick Martin isn't good. You know how they're telling you that? By not playing him. They won't even play him on special teams. They won't even play him ahead of Curtis Robinson. So I'm not watching that portion of practice as close to the media. They're telling you he's not good. Maybe he'll be good next week. But right now, he's probably one of the worst players in the team, according to them. That's what I'm gathering. Roy Cazares says, does this win mean Niners should still trade for an elite pass rusher? Sure. Absolutely, if they can get one. But, I mean, they just held a good offense to 10 points. They could trade for something else, like an elite offensive lineman. Ivan Quezada says, could D'Amico do what Salah's doing with his team? I don't know. I always got the sense that Robert Salah's blitzes and pressure schemes were better than D'Amico's. D'Amico's very good, though. I mean, his players really play for him, but they play for Salah too. So they're both great. I tend to think that Salah's better. SS Purewall says, Kittle said Mac protects the ball. Shot at Brock? Maybe. Josh B says, dedicate a segment to Eddie P, 17-17 on field goals. I could. I should. All right, maybe I will. He's been great. J. Figs Ramon says, Los Niners was fun to see defense effort tonight. Philip Chavez says, let's go, Niners. Keep telling the truth, Grant. Harvey Dent says, what's your take on Fred's possible return? Pie in the sky. And right now it's Tatum's defense. Fernando Alvarez says, do you have Connor Colby with +1 reception next game? Also, Jake Brendel, who? Seven Dennis says 81 on special teams was an ass kicker. Malik Turner, shout out to you. Thought it was Terrell Owens out there. Harvey Dent says Mac knows something we don't know because after every game he says can't wait to do it again next week. Toughest game left is the Colts. He does keep saying that, doesn't he? All right, let's talk offense. And I'm not going to quarterback yet. I want to give Kyle Shanahan his props. Kyle Shanahan, he's complicated. He has moments in the game where you're like, I mean, calling a handoff for Kyle Juszczyk on 3rd and 1 when you got a backup center and a rookie left guard in there was like all-time bad call. But you know what? Everyone makes some bad calls every game. I'm sure some of Robert Salah's calls in this game weren't great. What Salah did, what Shanahan did do really well, his game plan was great. It was so right on. He sized up the Falcons offense perfectly. Defense. He's like, if we try to play this game the way they've been playing every game this year, which is throw the ball a lot, they're going to lose. Going to lose. Have one of these 40 drop back games, going to lose. Because the Falcons' defensive line is as good or better than any defensive line the Niners have faced. I mean, first play of the game, right? Mac Jones under center. I'm trying to remember this. Christian McCaffrey motions out of the backfield. Mac does like a straight drop back. I think they're trying to throw to Kittle. He's covered, sacked right away. And I'm thinking, oh, Kyle's has the wrong game plan. The Niners are going to lose this game. Turns out he knew exactly what the hell he was doing. And he looked at that defense and saw, they faced Vita Vea last week. Vita Vea is the most powerful, girthy, pause defensive tackle in the league. Falcons don't have one like that. They have a bunch of lean, light, explosive, athletic pass rushers. So you got to run the ball. And how do you do that when the Niners haven't been able to run the ball all freaking year? I've been waiting for Kyle Shanahan to do something differently because he is good. He's a very smart guy. I mean, Robert Saleh respects him. So where's the adjustment? Boom, here it is. Instead of running outside zone, they went gap scheme. So if you don't know what the difference is, let me explain. Outside zone, you just get 5 guys, 6, including the tight end, working in unison, like a conga line, all sort of running the same direction, trying to turn people and essentially set screens like in basketball. It's not a physical style of running. It's not a downhill style of running. It's trying to get big plays around the edge. It's not working. And it's really designed to outflank big, strong, slow defensive linemen. Like in the 90s, when everyone was running power and counter, and defenses had to load up with 330-pound defensive tackles to match up with teams like the Cowboys, who were running power with Larry Allen and Emmitt Smith in your face. You had to have corresponding defensive tackles to hold your ground. Here comes Mike Shanahan with his 280-pound offensive linemen who were outflanking you, outrunning you to the sideline and getting big plays that way. Well, the Falcons' defensive line isn't big and girthy. Pause. It's small and lean. I'm sorry. It's fast. And so you're not going to outflank them. What you want to do is beat them up, push them back, and run all those. It was funny. I'm sitting up there, and 5 spots down is Tom Rathman. Freaking Tom Rathman. And, I mean, he was a running backs coach. He played in the league. He knows what the hell he's looking at. And he called it out. He's like, oh, there's power. And he's kind of surprised because, like, that's the kind of stuff that, you know, he would run with Bill Walsh, and he would Harbaugh would run when Rathman was the running back coach. Power, physical downhill football. That's not what Shanahan is known for. But he did it in this game. It was absolutely the right schematic call. And I think what we saw, it made Christian McCaffrey look young again. Because with the outside zone, you get him running sideways. Then he has to make one violent cut. Maybe he shouldn't be making that violent cut at 29 years old, coming off of Achilles tendonitis. So instead of doing that with counters and powers, all he has to do is run straight into that one predetermined hole as hard as he freaking can. And today it looked like he had a little more juice. It looked like he was hitting the line of scrimmage with more velocity. That's great. All that worked out. And then it seemed to me like, I don't want to be a downer here, but it seemed to me like Christian was getting the yards that were blocked for him. The offensive line and George Kittle were doing a much better job of getting Christian to the second level. And then when he got there, you know, he'd get tackled. I think his longest run was about 16 yards, which is great. But Christian from 2 years ago would get there, and then that safety would be hopeless, make that guy miss, and it's a 50-yard run or a touchdown. So we don't see that anymore. He's going to get the yards that are gained for him, and any pass that's thrown to him is usually a completion, so that he's still a good player. Sometimes I feel like they overuse him. But in this game, I thought Kyle Shanahan did a good job of involving Brian Robinson Jr. as well. And I thought the success of the running game was not necessarily a running back thing, although they played well. It was a schematic thing and a blocking thing. So respect to Kyle Shanahan for out-coaching his former team. George Kittle returned, and they couldn't get him the ball. And I don't know why. We got to go back and watch the film. The Niners' official story is that he was not open, that the Falcons were double and triple covering him frequently and leaving other people open, which, you know, may or may not be true. You'd like to think that there's really nothing a defense could do to take away your best player. I mean, it's a Hall of Fame tight end. You can't throw him a stick route. He can't run a 6-yard curl on 2nd and 10. Throw it to him. You can't throw him a screen. I think that the Niners are being cautious with him and don't want to talk about it. He's coming back from what he says was a fully torn hamstring. Fully torn hamstrings take months to recover. Maybe he was exaggerating, but maybe he shouldn't be running full-out sprints yet. Maybe he just needs to be blocking, because it seemed like a lot of times on 1st and 2nd down, he'd be on the field to block, and then when it was time to, you know, pass on 3rd down, he'd come off the field and they'd bring in like Luke Farrell. Did it annoy anyone else that Jake Tonjes didn't play anymore? He's been holding you down all season. Kittle comes back and he's not himself, and Jake Tonjes, maybe they would have scored more than 20 points. Anyway, I digress. Kittle was huge, not as a receiver, but as a blocker. Clearly, with Kittle in the game, they can do so much more in the run game, and Christian has more room. Brian Robinson has more room. So if they can keep him healthy, they just might have a good offense at some point this season. Isn't it interesting that after all these injuries on the defense, All the players they lost on the defense last year, Greenlaw, Ward, all the defensive linemen, the questions are still the offense. And that's with Kittle on it. And that's with Ricky Pearsall coming back. But it's starting to seem like the offense is going to have answers for their questions. If the biggest question the offense had going into this game was, can we run the ball? The answer is yes. Now, they're not going to be the most explosive rushing team in the league like they were, a couple, 2-3 years ago. But when they need to run the ball, they're going to be able to do it. And they can run to win games. And a big reason their defense played so well tonight was because they ran the ball well. All right, let's keep moving. So this was the news. Midway through the game, there's a report, was it on NBC? That, or I guess it was during the game. On the telecast, Brock Purdy, his toe injury is so bad that if he moves it the wrong direction or tweaks it just the littlest bit, it goes back to square one. And it's really debilitating. So what he said, Brock, is that he's truly day-to-day, which means he has no idea how it's going to feel tomorrow, and that there's no timetable for his return. And if Mac Jones weren't playing so well, this would be a scandal. I mean, this is like the Christian McCaffrey thing from last year, but worse. With Christian, he had the Achilles thing, and they made it seem like he'd be back at any moment, like he might even play week 1. And then it turned out to be an 8-week injury that he never fully recovered from last year. With Brock, it was originally a 2 to 5 week injury. They brought him back after 2 weeks on the aggressive side. He re-injures it. And you're thinking, all right, he'll come back in 3 weeks this time. But if he doesn't, not only did we not fully understand how severe this is, it's not the first time that the Niners have somehow not conveyed to people how severe an injury is to one of their top players. But they're culpable. This guy could miss the whole season. He could be in the same boat as Joe Burrow. It's just that the Niners haven't said anything. So I don't know. All we know is he hasn't had surgery yet. He did practice last week. Maybe he'll heroically play against the Texans next week. But if he truly has no timetable, if he truly feels like any false step will set him back, then he can't play until he's 100%. Truly 100%. And when's that going to be? Will he ever be 100% again this season? I don't know. So I think if we're talking about quarterback controversy, that's way down the line, because Mac's the starting quarterback on this team. There's no controversy. It's Mac's team. Just like it's Tatum Bethune's defense. Brock is freaking history. He may come back next week, next month, next season. Don't know. Until then, he's an afterthought. Brock Purdy's an afterthought. I'm sorry, it's Mac Jones' team right now. And after the game, there's a lot of questions about Mac Jones. His numbers weren't that great. What were his numbers? 152 yards, interception, and a 64 quarterback rating. Not great. But you saw what this defense did to Josh Allen last week. It was never going to be that kind of a game for the Niners where he's going to light him up for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. It was going to look like this. And after the game, from Christian McCaffrey to George Kittle to Kyle Shanahan, when asked about Mac, they were like, he's a really good quarterback, and we would not be in this position without him. I thought that was interesting. It felt like, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Brock's coming back next week, but it felt like this report out indefinitely felt like the players knew. And while the team didn't want to say anything, now that Mac Jones has won another game and beat another potential playoff team, they can say, you know what? Yeah, it's true. Brock's going to be out a while. And you know what? So is Fred. And you know what? So is Bosa. And you know what? That's okay. Because we have replacements. Our backup quarterback, turns out, he's a starting quarterback and a good one. Same with our backup middle linebacker. Same with our second edge rusher. So I feel bad for Brock. And I can only imagine how Brock feels. I mean, can we go back to that week 4 moment again? Jaguars, they were undefeated. On Thursday, Brock spoke to the media and did not say that he was going to play in the game. He said he really would like to be himself before he went back on the field. The next day, Kyle said he's playing and not on the game status report. No, not questionable. He's playing. And they made it worse. If I were Brock Purdy, I'd be upset. Hey, man, I was trying to be a good player. You're supposed to protect me. You didn't. And now you're creating a quarterback controversy with this guy? I don't think Kyle meant to create a quarterback controversy, but he just happened to. And one thing that Mac has going for him that Brock doesn't is durability. You know, a lot of people will talk about the difference between these two guys. Well, Brock's so much more mobile. So when they're both healthy, that means that Brock is a better quarterback than Mac because he doesn't have that element to his game, and that's true. But the implication with mobility is that, like, it keeps you healthy, right? It gets you away from trouble. It helps you escape. But all I know is Brock's missed 7 of the Niners' last 14 games with his mobility. Meanwhile, Mac has missed 2 games due to injury in his entire career. So maybe, just maybe, holding the ball a long time and running around a lot isn't always the key to durability and longevity in the NFL. Maybe doing that actually puts your career in jeopardy. And, you know, I think one thing that Mac is trying to prove or show is that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. And to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, you can't just play well for a week or 3, get injured, and leave. You know what? You know who does that? High-level backups. And when he won his first 3 starts, beat the Rams, and then lost to the Bucks, it's possible you're just a high-level backup in the right system. You haven't proven it yet that you're a starter. But he bounces back. He's still not 100%. He finds another way to win. He doesn't cost the Niners the game. He's not an elite quarterback, but he's good. And he's not missing games. He's showing the Niners and the league, look, if you make me your starting quarterback, I'll be there. I'll be in the field every play. It doesn't matter if I'm limping around, if I don't feel quite myself, if I'm not quite Mac Jones today. If you're speaking in the third person, which I've never heard him do, I'll be out there and we can win. We can win when I'm not 100% healthy. And I'll play when I'm not 100% healthy. With Brock, can you win when he's not 100% healthy? Maybe. Sometimes. They beat the Seahawks when he was limping around. He wasn't really limping. They beat the Seahawks, but then they lost to the Jaguars, who got their freaking asses kicked today by the Rams. Does that mean that Mac Jones would have beat the Jaguars? I will never know. But I find it interesting that Mac is making, what am I trying to say? I find it interesting that Mac needs to show people that he could show up every week, and that Brock can't do that or hasn't done that for a while. 7 of the last 14 games he's missed. Mac's never had a stretch like that in his career. And again, like, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up watching Brett Favre. That guy never missed, ever, starts. Tom Brady, like, these guys, real starting quarterbacks are supposed to be Iron Men. And I'm not saying that Brock isn't tough because he is. He's just small and maybe fragile. He's gotten injured in the pocket. He's gotten injured outside the pocket. And every year he holds the ball longer. He wants to be Josh Allen. Mac Jones doesn't want to be Mac Jones knows who the hell he is. Sometimes I don't think Brock knows who he is. And I think Mac Jones deep down self-knowledge is keeping him upright. I mean, did he play well in this game? He was okay. His numbers weren't great. He won. Did he play well last week against the Bucs? It's okay. He made some throws. No one would watch Mac the last 2 weeks and be like, man, that dude is elite. Give him $100 million. But for $4 million? I mean, he's super underpaid. So the season isn't over, even if it is for Brock Purdy. And we don't know. But the word during the game is that he's out indefinitely. And again, if Mac Jones were bad, or if he weren't on this team and the backup were Josh Dobbs, the season would be over and Kyle Shanahan's job might be as well. Instead, they're 5-2. Kyle's doing the best job of his career, is in the running for coach of the year. And who knows, maybe he and Mac Jones will get Mondo extensions in the offseason. All right. That's how I feel. Bill Kennedy says, do you know Mac the Knife B7 Bobby Darin? Do you know Mac the Knife B7 Bobby Darin? No, I don't. But I know Bobby Darin. Didn't he die in a plane crash? 7NP says, if Brock never played another snap for the Niners, I wouldn't mind. If they keep playing like this, fans are too emotionally invested in certain players. It's about wins, not feelings. That is true. Niner for Life says, my mom said, Iggy, you're awesome. Love the way you sang Return to the Mac. Please give Mac Jones some props and Eddie De Niro. Okay, I'll get to Eddie in a minute. Hey, Grant, how do you get hat hair with no hat? Fuck. That was fair. I'll take that. Shimel Dio says, Matt Hennessy, stay at center, please. Brendel sucks. 7 Dennis 123 says, number 5 has too many key drops. Is he even worth mentioning? I guess I should mention him. Demarcus Robinson. Here's what I have to say about Demarcus Robinson. What the fuck? And my follow-up is, are you fucking kidding? Those are my 2 questions for Demarcus. What the fuck? And are you kidding? I mean, Mac Jones has put some passes like right on his hands. They've gone through both of his hands multiple times. What's going on here? He was here all of training camp, missed 3 weeks of the season, and now he can't catch up football anymore? Damn. So maybe stop throwing to him. Aru Illustri says, funnest, most refreshing Niner season in years. Love seeing hungry young players rise instead of jaded vets. I completely agree. There was something so jaded about last year's team. Last year's team was depressing. The whole season was depressing. My hair is fucked up. The whole season was depressing. From the beginning, from training camp, from the Ayuk drama and all that crap to Christian McCaffrey being injured, to Ricky Pearsall getting shot, to the various other tragedies. It was an awful, awful season, and the team seemed miserable, and Devondre Campbell blew up. This year, it seems like they're really having fun, which is like they're professional athletes. Who gives a shit if they're having fun? It kind of matters, especially when they looked so morose last year. Kittle's having, and isn't Mac Jones a big part of that? Why would Mac Jones be depressed, morose? He didn't lose the Super Bowl. He wasn't on this team last year. He's been on really bad team. This is the best team he's ever been on. He's in a great mood. This is the best year of his freaking professional career. And I think his ebullience is rubbing off. Is that the right word? Sean Shepard says, Grant, Juice, just run to say the other coach, your Juice. Jerunsussed to say the other coach, your poop. I almost understood what you were talking about there, Sean. I love you, though. Paul Newland says, $50. Thanks, Paul. Most impressed I've been with Kyle in a single season. One complaint was the juice play. As soon as my family and I saw they gave it to him, we all knew the outcome. Keep it up, Grant. Big fan. See you on Chabot one of these days. Yeah. Come catch me at Chabot, baby. Or Monarch. I like playing the Monarch 9, man. That's the best 9-hole course in the Bay. It's $15 during the week to play a really nice 9-hole with a couple of par 4s. And there's one where you can actually use your driver and a couple where you can use your hybrid. And that's a nice 9-hole. I'm just saying. Nicholas, it's in San Leandro over by Metro. Nicholas V says, Juwan is garbage. Do you think he gets traded? Also, D-Rob should be cut. Give Watkins his reps. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Juwan. He's clearly not healthy. Ricky's going to come back. Hey, did you notice, like, Fred Warner all over the freaking, like, in the booth, put on the Jumbotron, in the locker room afterward? Why don't they make a big deal about Brandon Ayuk? He's here. He's in a booth. He's watching the game. Like, shouldn't the Niners be like, Brandon's almost back? And wait. It just feels like they don't want him here anymore and he doesn't want to be here anymore. Unless I'm misreading things. Dove Autoglass says, what's your favorite play of the entire game? P.S. Please don't call me Dave's. Thank you. Dove Autoglass. Sorry, man. I almost did it. Favorite play of the game? I mean, maybe when they forced that intentional grounding at the end of the first half. That was so huge. It was the difference in the game for a long time. All day, everyday Kim says, is it official yet? Quarterback controversy. I mean, I guess Brock needs to get healthy and take his job back because it seems like he's going to be gone a while. Daz says Niners veterans speak quite highly of Mac. What do you think happens if the team goes on a run with Mac and Brock eventually is healthy? How does the locker room react? I mean, while Mac's on this heater, I think Brock's going to sit out. You really think Brock's going to come back next week and put Mac on the bench so he can face the Texans? The Texans have a better defense than Atlanta. I don't think we're going to see Brock next week. I think this is Mac's time. Harvey Dent says Mac is elite. He has a natty. You saw the arm today. Scoozy says ATL #1 pass defense. Mac did okay. Shanny's play call was running. It worked. CMC looked vintage. Was solid. We can do anything. Did he look vintage? I'll give him that. Richard Evangelista says, are you okay, Grant? Did you forget your razor? Looking kind of rough, Chief. All right, I'm going to talk about my new look in a minute, all right? Thanks for noticing, though. Sing it, Return to the Mac. Whoa, I'm on it. Ooh, yeah. That wasn't that good. I kind of went falsetto there. Sometimes you got to go falsetto in life. Goobertown 9 says, I was at the game, had a blast. CMC went off, and I don't know what is up with D-Rob. Wasn't he pretty good in camp? This is a funny team to watch, man. I agree. Colonial Lee 50 says there was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. Garendo. Sean Shepard says they run juice to tell the other coach he's poop. The young Montana been a member for 49 months. Thank you. J Figs Ramon. Are you high on Bethune or low on juice? Very high on Bethune. I am tripping balls on Bethune right now. Joe says this team is the inverse of the 2021 team, unpredictable in the best way, and this team would probably only lose to that Super Bowl. And this team would probably only lose that Super Bowl by 10 or so. It's a fun team. It's a fun team. Let's do the prize picks section, and then I'll talk about my hair. These were my prize picks of the week. Loss. Damn. I think that's because I was wrong about McCaffrey. So I don't think we need to belabor that one. I was just wrong, and Christian was right. And he's very good looking, and I'm not attractive. So shout out to Christian for that. Okay, hold on. What we got? Monday, Detroit and Tampa. Passing yards, Goff, 262, hasn't been hitting it, but they're going to have to throw a lot. And you know what? I think he's going to go for more. What about Baker? It's going to be a shootout, but who are his wide receivers going to be? I'm going to say less for Baker. Okay, what about, what? What's up with Rashad White? Jahmyr Gibbs, 61.5. Yeah, more. I think that. How about receiving yards? There's Rashad White. He's on my fantasy team. 20? Yeah, more. How about Jamison Williams, you're on my fantasy team. Are you going to do anything in this game? Yeah, I think you will. I'm just saying more for everyone. And then Sam Laporta, 47.5. You are going to be the one guy who gets less. And why? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm flexing it and I'm putting it to 50 because I'm that confident. To win 12, yeah, I'm going to win. Submitting, boom. Download the app, use promo code COHN right on your screen, play $5 and get $50 in lineups instantly when you use my super generous promo code COHN. Download the app, available in 45 states, including California, Florida, and Texas. Josh B says, you forgot Eddie P, the people's champ. All right, I'll get to him right now. Richard Evangelistas, sweaty, speedy words, glassy eyes, H2O. I mean, you could have just got a coffee. Jorge Alvarez says, was Kittle just there to be a decoy and block today? Hell yeah. They could do that with Christian sometimes too. I feel like the Falcons did that with Bijan Robinson a lot. He was in motion a lot, wasn't he? I like that. I think the Niners could do more of that with Christian, but you know what? When they win by 10, I don't really nitpick. All right, let's talk about me. A lot of you guys noticed that I look like shit today. You know what? That's fair. I'm sort of in between. For the last couple years, I've been rocking the fade. Real short. But I'm almost 40 years old, and I feel like I look like a kid when I wear that. So I'm trying something new. And I've been rocking the sexy stubble since I was 19. So I've always, I've noticed that beards are all the rage. George has a beard. Ricky has a beard. People have beards these days. You ever notice that? So I'm thinking, hey, maybe I could have a beard now. And what I'm thinking also is like, if I grow out my hair, maybe I'll get some of my curls back. Because when I was in high school, I had curls. So I don't know. I'm trying to get like the, modern day Jesus look going with a little bit of a, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if I can pull it off. And I'm in between right now. So I want to see it through and see what I can do. And then I'll get rid of it, but not until I see it through. I think I'm starting to bald. I feel like I'm, you know what I mean? Like little act, like I feel like the stuff up here gets to me. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Wait, where? Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, what is that? The fuck is that? So I'm like trying to like do stuff with my hair to pretty much like, but I don't want to do a comb over, right? Because that looks like Donald Trump stuff. And I don't want to look like I'm 80 years old with the comb over. So I'm trying to like, Joaquin Phoenix it in Gladiator, but that's not really looking so good either. I don't know what to do, guys. But I'm going to keep trying. And if I look sweaty, like I've had here, you know what? Just lie to me. I would appreciate everyone to lie and tell me that I look good. Could you do that for me? Why are you guys so mean? I'm always so nice and generous with the 49ers. Couldn't you guys keep that same energy with me and just tell me that I'm looking handsome? I would appreciate it. Do I believe you? No, I know what I look like. It's terrible. Getting old, man. Fuck. Do you ever look in the mirror and be like, it's happening? Shit. So I'll try a new look at some point. But what I want to do is like keep it like long on the top and then like also get the fade here and do like fade into beard. But I don't think this beard's going to really look that good. Like people with good beards have like thick, lush, it's patchy. Well, you got patch. And then I got like a swirl. This is a swirl. It's a swirl. No one wants to see a face swirl. So I don't know. Should I just go goatee? No one really rocks a goatee anymore. That's very 1999. It's very Ken Caminiti. Remember Ken Caminiti? I feel like John Lynch rocked a goatee once upon a time. He seemed like a goatee kind of guy. Thanks for indulging me on that one. Let's get some more return of the Mac, says Thomas Dela Cruz. Nah. Go to Turkey, get your hair fixed, but you look. Shut up. Richard Evangelist says, do the solo with the beard. Be a man's man. I'm trying. See, this is the thing. Like, I've been lifting weights. I've been working out really hard since March. Been going to Orange Theory. I've lost 5 pounds of fat and added 3 pounds of muscle. And this week, guess what? I started taking creatine. That's right. Performance enhancers. That's right. Because you know what? This team needs me. And I run a 4-5 flat, or I did 18 years ago. And you know what? I might be able to do it again if I could just get back in shape. So, I'm working on it. It might take me the rest of my life, but I'm going to be an underwear model. I'm just going to stop covering the Niners and just start taking pictures in my underwear. And you're going to love it. So stay tuned for that. It's the next arc of my career. It's the Mark Wahlberg arc. And I think I have it in me. I think I could do it. I think I'm a bright, shining star. Mark Wahlberg style. Thomas Delacruz says, you lied to me. All those times she said that I love you. We can't lie to you, bro. Turn to the Mac. All those times she said that I love you. You lied to me. Why did she lie to him? But you know what? Little did she know that she let out the return of the Mac. He was just trying to keep it chill. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to do that to the world. He was just trying to mind his business, read a book, be monogamous. But she lied to him. So you know what? Now, every woman in the world has to deal with Mark Morrison and his game. And you know what? They're liking it. They're loving it. 50 years later, they're like, where's Mark? I won't lie to you, Mark. Was Mark here tonight? Maybe not. Can we if the Niners go to the NFC Championship game and Mac's starting, can we get Mark Morrison to sing that shit at halftime? I bet you they fucking will. And you know what? After that, can we get Mike Jones? Oh, can I set this up? Oh my God. I think the Niners got something here. The problem is, who would you play for Brock in the NFC Championship game? Mark Morrison and Mike Jones, and for Brock, you'd have Raffy. Who's some country singer that I don't know? Brad Paisley? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. You look good, bro. No Cuomo, says Chris. Thank you. SD Niner says, none of your peers ask about O-line. Should be a weekly berating. Hey, am I the only one that noticed that when they pulled Christian McCaffrey into the end zone, that's a penalty? Like, that's cheating? Good for the Niners, though. But you can't do that. Andrew Kroll says, you're shining star for sure. I'm a big, bright, shining star. I love that movie. Boogie Nights is super underrated. And you know what I watched last night? Clueless. I'm not going to say it's an underrated movie because everyone's seen it a million times, but it holds up. 30 years old. They got the mighty, mighty boss tones in there. I mean, like, ska. Holds up. Good movie. Anyway, thanks for being so patient with my hair today and watching my show. Why TF aren't you working for the Niners? Genius. Because they don't appreciate what I bring to the franchise. They think I'm a hater, but what they don't understand is that I care about the team more than anyone. And I'm really enjoying this season. I'm not a fan, but don't push me. Sorry. Andrew Kroll says Grant beat Lombardi's ass. No, I didn't. But I am on creatine in case he wants to test me. Guys, thank you for watching. Time for me to do my grades. Stay tuned for the grades. And then I'll try to go home and get some sleep, and I'll be back in the morning with Ryan G. Hensley, where the G is silent because real G's move in silence. Josh B says, oh, Eddie P. Fuck. Eddie P. How could I not talk about Eddie P? So I'll do it this way. I was sitting next to Mike Silver during the game. And Mike Silver, is one of the most experienced, respected national NFL reporters in the world. He also covered the Niners many times, including the last few years. He just been working with the Athletic National the last, 12 months. So I haven't seen him. He's here today. Big, Sunday night game. And he's just talking to me before the game and trying to get his bearings and making sure he didn't forget anything. And he's like, so what was the best addition to this team? I go, why are they so good? I go, it's like, well, Bryce Huff was good and Robert Saleh's good. Kendrick Bourne has been a revelation. And of course, there's Mac. And we were like, sort of like running out of people. Because it's like, Luke Gifford, Luke Farrell. Then I just went, oh, Eddie Pineiro. And we're like, oh, of course, because really, he's been the most important addition to this team. As important as Robert Saleh. I mean, he hasn't missed a field goal yet. Here's something. I kind of hate my hair right now. If Eddie Pineiro had been the Niners kicker in 2023, would they have won the Super Bowl? You don't think of a kicker being that important, but kind of is. And no offense to Jake Moody, I think he made all his kicks today for the Bears. He may end up being a great kicker for the Bears, but it wasn't going to happen for him on the 49ers for a lot of reasons. And a lot of them probably didn't have much to do with him. There was whatever. The situation wasn't great for him. He leaves. Eddie Pineiro comes in. He doesn't feel phased. He's perfect on field goals. And the Niners keep winning these really close games that they might lose if Jake Moody were still the kicker. So, I mean, he's a great story. He's a great kicker. Can't believe he was actually available during the season. And it's one of the things that makes me feel like this might be the Niners season. How lucky can you get? You have this huge liability on your team, and you've been in denial about it for years. You set up a sham of a kicking competition. I'm sorry. We counted the kicks. He lost to Greg Joseph. They gave him the job anyway. As if he wasn't going to, keep missing kicks. He missed kicks immediately week one. They got rid of him. And this just like incredible kickers waiting around. And it's like he knew. They asked Pineiro, how come he didn't sign with the team? I really wanted to make sure I went to the right team. Translation, I saw what was happening in San Francisco, and I wanted to take Jake Moody's job. And he did. And he was ready. Like, doesn't it feel like this is the season where he makes the kick that wins the Super Bowl for them? Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but which team can the Niners not beat? Maybe when they face the Rams again, they won't beat the Rams. Maybe they got lucky in that one. I don't know. But they find ways to beat teams that are better than them on paper all the time. You know why? Because of Eddie Pineiro. Because of Mark Morrison. Because she lied to Mark Morrison. 30 years later, Eddie Pineiro is freaking perfect. You think it's a coincidence? You think it's a coincidence that woman cheated on Mark Morrison, and 30 years later you got Eddie Pineiro kicking out? No, it's not. It's not a coincidence. There's a direct causation there. So thank you, whoever you were. Thank you for breaking Mark Morrison's heart, because you know what? That's what the Niners needed. Mark Morrison's pain. Jay Figs Ramon says Shabuzi plays NFC champs with Brock Purdy. Oh, you're right. It would be Shabuzi, man. And there'd be line dancing, and it'd be awful, man. Awful. Sorry. If you like country music, I take it back. The Gift says, Grant, here's 10 towards a hair. But man, fuck you. Haircuts are like $55 these days, man. 45. Richard says, you ain't sleeping tonight. LOL. Probably not. All right. On that note, since you guys need to see me bright and early, rested, I'm going to head out. Grades will be up in about 45 minutes. Stay tuned. And thanks for staying up so late. I appreciate it. Now, go to sleep.